Economist Dr. Loren Scott here for a little bit. Hey, Dr. Loren, welcome back to Kiel. How are you today, sir?
Well, great. It's a great day in Northwest Louisiana.
It is. Your economic outlook report, you're kind of making the rounds and outlining it, and it's bad news for Shreveport-Bossier, would you say?
I wouldn't say it. No, I wouldn't say it's bad news. It's not great news. Actually, Shreveport-Bossier area is still way below its peak, reached back in 2008 or so. We actually think this is going to be a year, in the next 2 years, in which you're going to turn around and start to grow and experience modest growth. We're expecting about 600 new jobs over the next 2 years, positive growth. And you had a couple of really hard licks that you're dealing with. Number one, your casino industry has shed probably as many as 1,200 jobs since 2014. And then another big employer here, the Barksdale Air Force Base, is total, if you look at the troop and civilian employment, is down about 900 jobs. So that's a lot to offset. But you've got some really good things happening here. Your Port Caddo-Bossier, your National Cyber Research Park, real gems up here and doing really well right now.
Let's dig into that just a little bit. You said 600 new jobs, give or take, so you can get into more details. Are those net? Is it gross? Are we going to lose in some areas and gain in some others? Are these going to be service jobs? Explain to us what you anticipate.
Well, they're going to be net new jobs, and so you will be experiencing some growth. We expect more growth out of the National Cyber Research Park. Where you have General Dynamics, you have your Cyber Innovation Center, and those are very good, well-paying jobs. We're expecting more growth out there. For example, there are some things happening at your port that are going to create some very good, good paying jobs out there. You have some major tenants like Bentler Steel, like Ternium and Pratt that I think have some expansions on the horizon. And then they're looking at one that is going to be a very good addition out there, but we will not know about it until sometime in probably 2021. Actually, for you folks, one of the things you did is you dodged the bullet with Fibermon. This is a outfit in Minden that employs 752 people that was just on the cusp of getting ready to move over the line into Texas because of some problems with bridges here.
Yeah.
But an agreement was reached, I guess, yesterday to make sure that they stay here. And boy, that was a big save for this region.
Doc, I don't know how we're going to get to this. I'm just going to go cut right to the chase, okay? The governor says our unemployment rate's the lowest it's been in years. But when you talk to others, they say that percentage really is not a clear reflection because so many people have either stopped looking for work or who have left the state. What's the truth? Is it somewhere in between both those arguments?
I think the unemployment rate is a very bad statistic to use to see how well your economy is doing, to be honest with you, because the unemployment rate can go down for two reasons. It can go down because you're hiring a lot more people, or it can go down because people quit looking for work. What the economists call the denominator gets smaller. Well, in this particular case, unfortunately, we have to say it's because the denominator is getting smaller. It is not going down for a good reason.
There are fewer jobs, right?
Matter of fact, if you look at your report that I'm going to show that you will get, you get the Louisiana Economic Outlook, you will find that we're actually below where we were in 2014. And we've had in the last 4 years, we've had either declines in employment or really, really modest growth rate.
So if I were to tell you that there are actually
for people should look at the employment, not the unemployment rate. Okay,
that's what I was going to say. If are there fewer people working today in Louisiana than there were 4 years ago, is that accurate?
Yeah, there's fewer people working in Louisiana today than there were in 2014.
Mr.
Yeah,
Lord.
and part of that is something that the governor could not control. I mean, the governor couldn't control what happened to the price of oil. You recall the price of oil was over $100 a barrel in 2014, and in 1 year it dropped to under 30, and that just killed the Lafayette, the Houma area, and matter of fact, Houma lost 17% of their jobs, if you can imagine that, and Lafayette also lost about 10% of their jobs. So it just creamed, and that's something, of course, the governor has no control over. But the recovery since then has been very, very modest. We've been between major projects in the bottom part of the state, and we've been in a lull, if you like. It's cost us a lot of industrial construction jobs. So it's, partly his fault, maybe partly not.
A couple of seconds ago, you alluded to the gaming industry in this part of the state, Shreveport-Bossier. There's talks about casinos shutting down, moving the licenses to other parts of the state. The competition from, I guess, mostly Oklahoma. What's the outlook for the casino industry here, for the gaming industry? Is there going to be a bounce back, or have the owners just decided, well, second place ain't that bad?
Well, I think, of course, you have more casinos here than any other place in the state. Historically, been very, very successful until the Indians began to open up casinos in Oklahoma, and that has just really nailed this area. And your first signal that something is badly wrong is if one of the casinos wants to move their license someplace else, and one of yours has indicated that, was trying to move down to Tangipahoa Hall Parish. As a matter of fact, that didn't work out. So that's the first indicator that there's a problem here. And unfortunately, I really don't see anything out there that's going to turn it around. As a matter of fact, what we've experienced down in Baton Rouge and what they've experienced in New Orleans is, of course, there's a movement, and I can understand why people want to do this, to put a smoking ban in the casinos. And I understand the health aspects of that, but you also need to understand the other aspects of this, and that is it does tend to drop in your employment and your attendance and your revenues even more going forward. And I know there's some move here afoot in Shreveport to do that and Bossier to do that. And again, I understand the health impacts, but you also need to understand that that's going to have an impact on the take, too, and employment.